Amidst glass skyscrapers and corridors filled with ambition, Amelia Hartman carries a simple yet powerful legacy, choosing what is right, even when everything conspires against it. What happens when integrity and power collide? Amelia Hartman clutched the small silver necklace between her fingers, feeling the engraved words as if they were part of her own skin. Do what is right. The three simple words her father had given her before she left for college were not just a gift. They were a legacy, a silent promise that now, at 29 years old, continued to serve as her moral compass. In her small hometown, those words seemed easy to follow. There, her father, a carpenter respected for his honesty, was a figure of admiration. She grew up watching him refuse extra payments, work extra hours without charge when families were struggling, and always look everyone in the eye, no matter who they were. Integrity has no price, Amelia, he would say, while sanding wood with his calloused hands. It's something you build day by day like a well-made piece of furniture. A bad day can scratch it all. New York was different. The towering glass and steel building of the Hale and Associates office, where she had worked for 2 years, seemed to swallow those values with every floor she ascended in the elevator. There, success meant quick results, satisfied clients, and fierce loyalty to the company hierarchy. Coffee, 2 sugar cubes, no cream, said Richard Hale, the senior partner, without taking his eyes off the documents in front of him, as Amelia entered his office that morning. Even after 2 years as an associate attorney with an exemplary resume, to him she was still just another replaceable employee. Actually, Mr. Hale, I came to deliver the Morrison case reports, she replied, maintaining the professional demeanor she had perfected as armor. I managed to find a precedent that could be decisive. Hale looked up, surprised by the interruption of his train of thought. Put it on my desk. Jennifer will bring my coffee. Amelia nodded, leaving the carefully organized documents on the mahogany desk. As she left, she noticed the new picture on the wall, Hale alongside important figures of the city, his rehearsed smile contrasting with the genuine gleam in his eyes. The gleam of power. In the hallway, she almost bumped into Darius Coleman, who was carrying a stack of folders. Darius had arrived just 6 months ago, freshly graduated from Harvard, with impeccable grades and an intelligence that impressed even the most experienced. He smiled when he saw her, that smile that contained so much pride for being there, determination to prove his worth, and something Amelia knew well. The exhaustion of someone who has to work twice as hard to receive half the recognition. You look exhausted, he commented as they both walked towards their respective cubicles. Did you work all night on the Morrison case? Until 3 in the morning, Amelia confessed. But I found what we needed. And you? How's the Hopkins case going? Complicated, sighed Darius. Hale asked me to review all the case law from the last 15 years. I haven't left the office since yesterday. What Darius didn't say, what never needed saying, was that every task assigned to him felt like a test. Every outcome was scrutinized with more critical eyes, each mistake potentially fatal to his career. Amelia noticed the deep circles under Darius's intelligent eyes. In the 6 months since his arrival, she had noticed the whispers in the corridors as he passed. She saw how some colleagues avoided sitting with him at lunch, how clients occasionally requested another lawyer for no apparent reason, how his brilliant work received moderate praise while minor errors were blown out of proportion. You should go home and rest for a few hours, she suggested, genuinely concerned. And give old Hale a reason to say I can't handle pressure. No way. Darius smiled, but there was a shadow in his eyes. Besides, I need to impress at today's meeting. It's my chance to present that strategy I developed for the Forrester case. Amelia nodded, understanding. The weekly strategy meeting was where careers were made or broken. It was the arena where Richard Hale assessed his gladiators, as he liked to call his associates. You'll do great, she encouraged. Your approach is innovative. Even Hale will have to admit that. The following hours passed in a blur of phone calls, emails, and contract reviews. When the time for the meeting arrived, Amelia sat at the long conference table, observing the tired faces around her. They all seemed like characters from a corporate ambition movie, impeccable suits hiding unbalanced lives, rehearsed smiles masking constant anxiety. Darius sat on the opposite side, his notes organized in front of him. Amelia could see the slight tremor in his hands, not from nervousness, but from sheer exhaustion. Richard Hale entered last, as always, his presence dominating the room. At 58, he was the embodiment of success in New York's legal world. Strategically trimmed gray hair, a tailored suit, and that confidence that came from decades of winning at the game he had helped create. "Let's begin," he announced without preamble. "Peterson, how's the Northland case?" The meeting proceeded at the usual pace, quick updates, incisive questions from Hale, occasional economical praise. When it was Darius's turn, Amelia straightened up in her chair. There was something in the atmosphere that bothered her. "Coleman," Hale pronounced the surname with studied indifference. "I understand you have a groundbreaking strategy for the Forrester case." Darius stood up, his professional demeanor impeccable despite the fatigue. "Yes, sir. After analyzing similar precedents, I identified an approach that could not only win the case, but also establish our firm as pioneers in this type of litigation." For the next 15 minutes, Amelia watched Darius lay out his strategy with eloquence and precision. It was brilliant, even the most competitive colleagues seemed impressed. Everyone, except Hale, whose face remained impassive. When Darius finished, there was a moment of silence. Hale drummed his fingers on the table, a habit everyone had learned to fear. "Interesting," he finally said, the word hanging in the air like a sentence. "But completely impractical." Darius's face remained composed, but Amelia noticed the almost imperceptible tightening of his jaw. "With all due respect, Mr. Hale, I have carefully analyzed every legal aspect and—" "The problem, Coleman," Hale interrupted, "is not the legality of your approach. It's that you clearly don't understand the reality of the client." He paused, looking around the table. "The Forrester client is conservative, traditional. He expects a tried-and-true approach, not experiments from a novice lawyer." The hesitation before the word lawyer was brief but laden with meaning. Amelia felt a knot in her stomach. "I'll review the approach," Darius replied, with a dignity that Amelia admired. "Actually," Hale continued, "I think it's best to pass the Forrester case to Davis. She has more experience with this type of client." Melissa Davis, sitting 3 seats to Amelia's right, could not hide her surprise and satisfaction. Everyone in the room knew she had arrived months after Darius, with less impressive credentials. "Mr. Hale," Darius spoke, his voice controlled, "I have been working on this case for weeks. I know every detail, every. It's an administrative decision, Coleman, nothing personal." The phrase lingered in the air like a thinly veiled insult. The rest of the meeting proceeded, but Amelia could barely pay attention, observing how Darius remained upright, calmly taking notes in his notebook as if nothing had happened. When the meeting ended, everyone dispersed quickly, avoiding the discomfort of the moment. Amelia waited for Darius in the hallway. "That was unfair," she said when they were alone. Darius shrugged, but his expression betrayed disappointment. "It's part of the game, isn't it? I just need to work harder, prove more." "Darius," Amelia hesitated, searching for the right words, "you know it's not about your work." He looked at her, his eyes revealing a painful understanding. "I see, but what can I do? Give up?" "That's not an option." He adjusted his tie in an automatic gesture. "My father is a pastor, you know. He always says that the greatest testimonies come from the biggest challenges." Something in this revelation touched Amelia deeply. The mention of faith, something rarely discussed in those competitive halls, created an unexpected connection. "My father gave me this before I came to New York." She showed the necklace. "It's like having a piece of him with me, reminding me of what really matters." Darius smiled, a genuine smile this time. "It seems we have more in common than we thought." In the following days, Amelia noticed a subtle change. Darius was being systematically excluded from important meetings. Promising cases were redirected without explanations. The strategy was clear: isolate him, demotivate him, until he requested to leave. On a rainy Wednesday, Amelia arrived earlier and found the archive room door ajar. Heated voices came from inside. "It's not a matter of competence, Coleman." It was Richard Hale's voice. "It's a matter of suitability. Some clients simply feel more comfortable with certain types of lawyers." "Certain types?" Darius's voice was controlled, but it quivered with indignation. "Could you clarify what exactly you mean by that? Let's not complicate things. This firm has a reputation to uphold, an image cultivated over decades. Some adjustments of expectations are necessary for those who wish to grow here." "Adjustments of expectations," Darius repeated, each word laden with painful dignity. "I understand perfectly, Mr. Hale." As he left the room, he found Amelia standing there. Their eyes met. No words were necessary. He knew she had heard. She knew he was devastated but determined not to show it. That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. Hale's words echoed in her mind, along with the image of Darius's impassive face, hiding pain behind a remarkable dignity. The next morning, a palpable tension hung in the office. Rumors circulated about important clients questioning the new direction of the company. During lunch, Amelia accidentally overheard a conversation between Melissa Davis and another associate. "Just a matter of time before he resigns," Davis said, with barely disguised satisfaction. "Hale is already preparing the paperwork for the official transfer of all Coleman's cases. Don't you think that's a bit unfair?" asked the other lawyer, visibly uncomfortable. Davis shrugged. "It's the real world. Some people just don't fit the firm's image. Nothing personal, just business." Amelia felt her blood boil. Abandoning her lunch halfway, she headed straight to Hale's office. His secretary tried to stop her, but Amelia had already opened the door. Richard Hale looked up, surprised by the interruption. "Hartman, what is the meaning of this?" "We need to talk about Darius Coleman," she said, closing the door behind her. Hale sighed, placing the pen on the table. "If it's about the redistribution of cases, it's a purely administrative decision." "We both know it's not," replied Amelia, her heart pounding in her chest. "Darius is one of the best lawyers who have ever worked at this firm. Harvard with honors, 2 publications in prestigious legal journals, and an exceptional analytical ability. The only problem is that he doesn't fit your image." "Careful, Hartman," Hale warned, his voice dangerously low. "You're treading on slippery ground." "I'm treading on the ground of truth," she retorted, feeling the necklace against her skin as a silent reminder. "What is happening to Darius is wrong, and you know it." "What I know," Hale stood up, imposing, "is that this office has built a reputation over decades. Our clients have certain expectations. I'm not here to change the world. I'm here to manage a successful business, even if it means perpetuating injustices." Hale laughed, a dry, humorless sound. "Injustices? We are a law firm, not a civil rights organization. Coleman had his chance like everyone else. If he cannot adapt to the company culture, perhaps this is not the place for him." "The company's culture," repeated Amelia, feeling a lump in her throat. "Are you talking about prejudice disguised as tradition?" Hale's face hardened. "Are you questioning my integrity, Hartman?" "I'm questioning your actions, Mr. Hale. And yes, by extension, your integrity." There was a moment of heavy silence. Amelia knew she had crossed a line, but she couldn't bring herself to regret it. The weight of the necklace against her chest felt more present than ever. "Do you know what happens to lawyers who don't understand the chain of command, Hartman?" Hale finally asked, his voice icy. "They find out how competitive the market is out there. Is it a threat? It's a fact." Hale adjusted his shirt cuffs, a gesture Amelia had seen countless times before he destroyed an opponent in the courtroom. "You have potential, but you clearly need to learn a few lessons about how the real world works." Amelia felt the adrenaline rush through her veins. It was a moment of truth, to back down and protect her career, or to stand up for what she knew was right. "With all due respect, Mr. Hale," she said, unconsciously touching her necklace, "perhaps you need to relearn what integrity means." 2 hours later, Amelia was on the sidewalk in front of the imposing glass and steel building. a cardboard box in her arms containing the few personal items she kept at her desk. The dismissal had been swift and cold insubordination, incompatibility with company values, probationary period not satisfactorily completed. The feeling was surreal. 6 years of college, 2 of complete dedication to the office, sleepless nights, weekends sacrificed, all ended in a 15-minute meeting with HR. When the initial shock began to pass, fear set in. The New York legal market was ruthless. An attorney dismissed for insubordination from a firm like Hale and Associates would face closed doors everywhere. Her tiny apartment cost a fortune, her savings were sparse, and student loans would keep coming, relentless. In the following weeks, each job interview ended with the same politely distant look, the same empty promise of "we'll be in touch." Her bank account dwindled, and with it, her confidence. On a particularly difficult night, after yet another rejection, Amelia knelt by the bedside, the necklace clasped between her fingers. "Lord," she whispered, silent tears streaming down her face, "I don't regret standing up for what is right, but I'm scared. I don't know what to do now." That very night, she received an unexpected email from a firm she had never contacted, Coleman and Associates. The name sounded familiar, but she couldn't immediately place it. The message was brief and direct. They would like to interview her for a senior associate attorney position, focusing on social justice cases. Intrigued and with a renewed spark of hope, Amelia scheduled the interview for the next day. The address was in a modest neighborhood, far from the mirrored skyscrapers of the financial district. The building, although well-maintained, lacked the intimidating glamour she was accustomed to. At the reception, a discreet sign announced, "Coleman and Associates Lawyers for Rights and Dignity." A friendly receptionist led her down a hallway where the walls displayed not trophies or diplomas, but photographs of ordinary people clients, Amelia presumed alongside smiling lawyers. "Miss Hartman is here for the interview," announced the receptionist, opening the door to a modest but cozy conference room. The first face Amelia saw was that of Darius Coleman, seated at the table with a warm smile. Next to him was an older man with the same intelligent eyes, wearing a simple suit and a discreet tie. "Amelia," Darius stood up to greet her. "I'm glad you came." "Darius, you work here now?" "Actually," he smiled, "it's my family's firm. Allow me to introduce my father, Reverend Elijah Coleman, founder and senior partner." The older man extended his hand with a warm smile that immediately made Amelia feel welcome. "Miss Hartman," he said, with a deep and gentle voice, "my son has told me a lot about you and your courage." "My father is not just a pastor," Darius explained, noticing the confusion on Amelia's face. "He has also been a civil rights lawyer for over 30 years. After hearing about what happened at the Hale office," Reverend Coleman continued, "I was impressed by your integrity. There aren't many people willing to sacrifice so much for what they believe in." Amelia felt a lump in her throat. "I just did what I thought was right," she replied, instinctively touching her necklace. "Exactly," nodded Elijah, with a look that seemed to see beyond the surface. "And that's what we need here. Lawyers who care more about justice than status. People for whom integrity is not just a beautiful word but a principle of life." During the next hour, Amelia discovered that Coleman and Associates was a respected firm, specializing in cases of discrimination, civil rights, and social justice. Elijah had founded the firm after years working in large offices, where he constantly felt limited by the sole focus on profit. "Here," he explained, "we measure success not only by the cases won, but by the lives transformed. And yes, we earn enough to live comfortably, but never at the expense of our values." When the interview ended, there was no doubt. Amelia knew she had found not just a job, but a vocation, a place where her necklace would not only be a silent reminder, but a symbol shared by everyone. In the hallway, before leaving, Darius stopped her with a light touch on the arm. "Thank you," he said simply. "What you did for me. No one had done that before." "I just did what was right," she replied, her father's words echoing in her mind. And that changed everything, Darius smiled. Did you know my father always said that God works in the most unexpected moments? When I was fired a week after you, I thought it was the end, but it was just the beginning of something better. That night, upon returning to her small apartment, Amelia sat by the window, watching the city lights. The silver necklace shone under the dim light, the 3 engraved words reflecting an entire journey. Do what is right. She smiled, feeling a peace she hadn't experienced in months. The doors that seemed closed forever had given way to a completely new entry, a path where her faith, her values, and her work no longer needed to be in conflict. The next day, when she formally accepted the job offer, Amelia understood that her dismissal had not been an end, but a redirection. What seemed like a fall had actually been the start of a higher flight, a flight of courage, toward the purpose for which she had always been destined.